Hello everyone, and thanks for watching Edupedia World videos. I am Nidhi Saxena and I will be teaching you principles and practices of management. The module 1 covers certain topics which are what is an organization, what is management, what are the four functions of management, what are the different kind of managers, what are the roles and sub-roles that managers play, and what companies look for in managers. In the part 1 of module 1, that is in this particular video, I will be covering 2 points wherein I'll explain you what an organization is and what do you mean by management. Moving further to the first topic, an organization. An organization can be defined as a deliberate arrangement of people who come together to accomplish some specific purpose. When we look into this particular definition, we can say that it has three major parts, which is distinct purpose, people, and deliberate structure. Distinct purpose, people, and deliberate structure. That means people, they come together to in an organization to accomplish some specific objective, and when they have to meet this some particular objective, they work in a particular organization structure so that the work which is being done in the organization can be done smoothly. So an organization, again I'll repeat, is a deliberate arrangement of people who come together, they form a structure in order to meet their ultimate goals. When we talk about the traditional and the today's organization, there is a lot of difference between the organizations. The primitive organizations which used to exist before the Industrial Revolution were very different from today's organization. Let's just go through certain differences. Traditional organizations were stable, whereas today's organizations are dynamic. Why do we say dynamic? Because of the changes of technology and n number of different changes coming in because of globalization. The organization today keeps on changing according to the changing scenario, whereas the primitive organizations, they were very stable and they had some particular methodology of working, and they were rigid, they were not ready to adapt to the changes. That is the reason we say that the traditional organizations were inflexible, whereas today's organizations are definitely flexible. Traditional organizations were job focused, whereas today's organizations are skill focused. Why do we say skill focused? Because when an organization today gives certain work to the employees, they give the work based on the competency of the employee. That means they look into the skill sets of the employee and then that particular work is given. But the primitive organizations, they just looked into whatever work needs to be done, irrespective of the competency of an individual. That particular work was given and was told to the individual that you need to accomplish this particular work. So of course, yes, skill focused organizations are better, because if one individual has that particular skill, for example, if an individual possesses marketing skills, he definitely should be given work related to marketing and not related to HR or operations. Traditional organizations, in traditional organizations, work was defined by job positions, whereas in new organization, work is defined in terms of tasks to be done, which I've already explained. Traditional organizations were individual oriented, whereas new organizations are team oriented. People work in teams. These teams can be virtual teams, these teams can be cross functional teams. Depending upon the requirement of the organization, teams are made and people work in the teams. Traditional organizations were command oriented, whereas new organizations are involvement oriented. When we talk about involvement oriented, it means that in today's organization, even employees are asked to give suggestions while a decision is made. Whereas in the primitive organizations, it was just the directions were given to the individuals or to the employees, and they were not asked for their suggestions, because of which employees were not happy in those organizations and that belongingness factor was missing. Traditional organizations, managers always made decisions, whereas, of course, which I've already explained, that in new organizations, employee participate in decision making. New organization focus on customer orientation. They look into what is the requirement of the customer, what are the preferences of the customer, and according to that, decisions are made. Traditional organizations, they had relatively homogeneous workforce, whereas today's organizations, they have workforce diversity, because there are a lot of people who are coming from different backgrounds, different countries, and they work together. In traditional organizations, there were hierarchical relationships, wherein in today's organizations, they are more focused towards lateral and network relationships. In hierarchical relationship, you will find that there were tall hierarchies, a lot of levels were there, because of it, the decision making was slow. and the empowerment of the employees was not that much. But when we talk about today's organizations, then they are usually horizontal or lateral and networked, wherein every employee is empowered to take decisions at their own level. So these traditional organizations gradually converted into these new organizations. In the next module, probably I'll be telling you how these new organizations were developed from the traditional organizations. It's a long journey through which a lot of scientific researches were done in order to find out that what are the why and how can the productivity of an organization be increased. Moving further to the next slide, question arises that why should we study management and what is management? First, let us cover what is management. Management is the process of achieving objectives of the business organization by bringing together human, physical, and financial resources in an optimum combination and making the best decision for the organization. Basically, what is management? That it brings in all the different kinds of resources which are required to convert the input into the output. These resources can be human, physical, financial, machinery, all those different resources which are required. All these resources are then utilized in the optimum manner so that maximum efficiency can be achieved. So management is utilizing resources to convert input into output, and while utilizing these resources, the management or the managers have to keep in mind that the productivity and the efficiency of the organization should be maximum and the wastage of the resources should be minimum. So we can also say that this is the reason to study management, that in order to increase the profitability and the productivity of the organization, one needs to understand what is management and how can an organization be managed in a way wherein the resources can be utilized in the best manner. So whether it is a small organization or a large organization, whether it is a profit based organization or a non-profit organization, all the levels of the organization, whether it is marketing department, HR, finance, accounts, whichever department, every organization has some kind of management. Even when we look into our own homes, isn't it that we manage things? We definitely manage our resources, we manage our finances, we manage the different machines that we have in our home. So this management concept is very, very important. From the concept of management comes another term, which is the managers. What are managers? Managers are basically the people who implement the management in an organization. So we can say that management is a discipline, it is a human activity, and it is a process. Why it is a discipline? Because it is an accumulated body of knowledge that can be learned. When we are studying management, what are we doing? We are learning how to manage things. When a person is doing MBA, that is Masters in Business Administration, what is he learning? He is learning how to manage different resources. So of course we can say management is a discipline because it can be learned. It is a human activity because it involves people. Management is managing the most important asset of an organization, that is people. So it is a human activity and it is a process because it involves certain functions and activities. Of course management involves a lot of functions that we'll be studying in the coming modules. So we can say management is a combination of discipline, human activity, and a process. Again, we can define management in a different way. It is getting things done through the efforts of others. That is what managers do. Managers are people who are not actually working by themselves, but they are using their team to get the work done. So an individual who is doing his own work and is not managing or is not getting work done from others is not a manager. A manager is a person who is able to get things done from the other people. See, it is coordinating individual and group efforts towards superordinate goals. Superordinate goals is the goal of the organization, and all individuals and group working in the organization work to attain that one single goal which is being mentioned by the organization. So with this, we can say that we've come to the end of the module 1, wherein we have covered two basic concepts: what is an organization and what is management. Further, in the coming module, or we can say the part 2 of module 1, you will be able to see and understand what are managers and what are the roles that the managers play. So I would definitely request you that once you have finished watching this video, you should definitely look forward for the part 2 of module 1, wherein you'll be able to understand what are managers and what are the different functions that managers perform. Thank you so much.